this video, I'd like to do a crash course on the animation asset and kind of show its power and its limitation at the same time. So the idea behind the animation asset is that in Game Creator there is a character gesture which basically just plays an animation into the Game Creator animation system. They do things a little different with that. It's a more modern version of the animator where they're using, I think, playables. So what we have here is I've already created a new animation asset, and I just named it Combo. So you could pick a folder, go in here, create, go down to Game Creator, and then you have the instruction list, the condition list, and the animation asset. When you click this, you're going to get a new animation asset. You can obviously name it. When you have a new one, you need to put in an animation clip. Here we just have a right-handed sword attack. And then it also needs a model prefab so that it can preview the animation that you want to put events on. So like I was saying, the idea here is that you don't actually have to put events onto an animation clip. You can just create this asset and create your spots where you want it, and as long as you know your character is in a gesture, it's going to play this animation that's in the asset, and then it's going to fire these events. Now, I have to kind of explain that there are some limitations to this approach, or there's a way you got to think about it when you do it. So if we go into the Playmaker, and so here we have just the first FSM, which is gesture, and we have a start state, and this is our character gesture animated. There's another version that doesn't have this animated. It's strictly a Game Creator 2 gesture. But this one pulls the animation asset into the mix, and then it grabs the animation out of that, and then it can fire the events. So I have the wait to complete on here because it's going to be firing the events from this action. So I'll show you in a minute here how this can kind of get different. So we have two options here, what FSM we want to hit, but you can only do one or the other. So this one, by default, if your character has a couple FSMs or your game object has a couple FSMs on it, you might want to be specific to which FSM you want to eat those events. But if you don't check it in, it says it's going to fire it to all the FSMs. So right now I have none and none. And I have a gesture FSM and I have an events FSM. The events FSM basically has a hit and a combo and then a state just to dwell in. So if we go back and look at the combo, we can see that we have our first event is hit and our second event is combo. So these are spelled correctly. Now if I hit play, what's going to happen is when we come back and check this out, we're going to be all the way here. All right, he fired the event. So I'll come into Playmaker and we fired the hit event and we fired the combo event. Okay, so like I was saying before, and I'm just going to show you just to kind of drive the point home, if I put a hit event here, right, as of right now, it's going to, once again, it's going to fire the events to every FSM component on the character game object. So hit is the first event. So when we fire this, we're going to leave this state and end up over here. Now what we can expect to happen is that we're never going to fire the combo event in the second FSM. All right, events fired, or the animations played. So we have left this event, or this state from the hit event. We're here. So if we check out events, once again, we left on hit and we got stranded at combo because in the parent or the first FSM in this chain to get fired, we weren't in that state long enough to fire this combo event. So that's one thing to keep in mind when you're chaining. Okay, so I have a game object here set up with basically it's the same idea. It's got the hit, the combo, and the state. So if we go over to character here, and we go back to our gesture. Okay, let's get rid of this. No, yeah, here. Let's get rid of the transition. My bad. So if I put in an event target, I can not fire to here, right? I can come in here, and I'm now going to fire my events here. If I have a game object here, then this is never going to happen. So this has to be clean. Okay, gesture is completed. I'll check this out. And the game object FSM, we went through the hit, we went through the combo, and we went there. So I hope that kind of explains what you can expect from this. You got to remember that you have two choices here. You can fire it to just a specific target FSM on the character, or you can send it to a different game object and let that be the logic. But here you have the, like if I just feed in, let's just say I do this. Let's get rid of him. And then we're going to feed in the events. Okay? So we're going to go back to, well, I don't want to do that. I was going to say we're going to go back and put a hit on the first one. But it shouldn't, honestly, it shouldn't leave, right, if we were to do that. So we'll go back to gesture here, and we'll put this hit on here. And if everything's right, it should never leave here because it's firing the events to the second FSM. All right. So, yep, we're still in our state. Let's check our event. And we made it, once again, we made it all the way to the end.